Welcome to Hello Port Hueneme. We're doing a Citizens Forum, and we do this every month, and we're with City Manager Rod Butler. Welcome,
Hello,
Rod.
Tom. Good to be back.
How's the rain been treating you and the city of Port Hueneme?
I'm actually really enjoying it. We need it. Ventura County was one of the only cities that was still, only counties
Right.
to be considered still in drought, even after the drought statewide was declared over in 2017. So we're really excited to be getting this, and it's not causing, we had a few little minor flooding issues because of the vegetation that was in the creek over by Bubbling
Yeah.
Springs. So we've now taken some steps to thin out that vegetation so the water can flow. But other than that, we haven't had any big, major negative effects.
It was
So,
good and steady. It was heavy at times, but it wasn't uh, huge rain after rain after rain where
Yeah.
it built up. I think I mentioned this either in Port Hueneme News or somewhere that I saw a map late last year or middle of last year that showed what you were talking about. It was a drought map, and everywhere was yellow, a little white. There was only one place that was red, and it was Ventura County.
That's right.
you know.
It's really weird.
And so they got a huge snowpack
Yeah.
up there, way more historical almost.
I know. That's
And
great.
the snow they've been getting up there that's causing some flooding is like a 25-year high. So hopefully
Yeah.
that'll come down and fill our aquifers a little bit
Yeah.
and our water sources. There's also been, I know people that have been walking down at the beach uh, have said that they see a lot of plant debris and stuff.
Hmm.
And I checked with, can't remember who it was, Councilman Gama, that the rains washed down debris and stuff, especially from the fires,
Oh, wow.
down the Santa Clara and Ventura rivers. It goes out into the ocean, and then the waves move it around and bring it back to the beach.
Wow.
And it's out by the lighthouse and down the walkway somewhere around there. But nature cleans that out over a period of time. So
Right.
that's a good problem to have, I
Yeah.
guess. Yes. Speaking about the beach, last time we met, we talked about new trash cans going in at the beach, at the park, and I think you mentioned all over the city.
Right.
Looking at that, is there any update on that?
Yeah, still in the works. I would say this spring, so April, May, June is when those should appear. It'll come to the city council first for their approval. But yeah, it's definitely still going to happen. The money's there to make it happen. It's just a matter of getting the implementation plan laid out, and then our solid waste crews scheduling it for installation.
Also, speaking of trash cans at the beach, there's two other things that are going to about that. One is an update on the strong and bad surf that we had out there. We were talking about having signs put up so that when people from out of town come in, or for Valley people from the first time, they're aware that there are issues out there. Is that coming along?
Yeah, so on Monday night, March 4th, at the regular city council meeting, Don Villafana, Public Works Director, will be presenting a whole series of upgrades and amenities for the Hueneme Beach Park. And that would be the perfect time, once that work starts being done, we do expect the city council will approve what he's recommending to include some new signage at the beach park as part of that. So
Yep.
things stay close.
Somebody on the council, it was when we were discussing lifeguards 2 meetings ago, mentioned about how the city needs to be beach friendly for the people that come here, and let them know what we have in all aspects, just not the beach. But if we're going to try to make it better, that safety is really important. So I'm looking forward to that. Another thing that's going to be going on down there is the 1st of April, not the first day of April, but the first week of April, the food trucks are coming back.
That's right.
I think it's April through October,
Yeah,
and it's on the second Tuesdays, I believe.
that's right.
So we've posted that on Fort Hueneme News and next door. So it's getting bigger every year, and
Yeah.
I haven't talked to Tracy at the council at the chamber, but I think they have some new things going on, more entertainment and more food trucks. So
Wow.
that's been a real success. Over the last, I think this will be the third year.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So looking real forward to that. Uh, we mentioned also uh, the traffic pattern of people going to Bard, the elementary, or no, the high school
Right.
or junior high, I don't remember what it is, on Bard where the traffic is so bad and backed up. You were going to look into that with Don. Has
Yeah.
anything been done on that?
Yeah, nothing, no plan put together yet. Don has gone out and evaluated
That's
it,
right.
but no specific actions yet. I will make a point to nag Don and see where that stands.
Nagging works.
That's right.
Yeah. We, this is a story I at Surfside 4 behind one of our buildings next to Bubbling Creek. Uh, our maintenance guy let me know that there was a tree down, and it was on our property from the city. And I wrote Don an email, and this was back in January when um, the weather was bad, and there were a number of trees down in the city. And
Yeah.
Don asked me, "Well, is it hurting anything or in the way?" Or not? I said, "No, not really." And he said, "Okay, we're working on." There were trees down over sidewalks and over on the streets and stuff. And he said, "Let me get those cleaned up, and then we'll come out probably in about 2 weeks and cut it up and take it away." And I said, "Okay." About 3 days later, this scenario happens. One aggravated resident called up and evidently was agitated. Went, they were out there in 2 hours and got the tree.
That's great.
Here I've been working with Don for
Yeah,
a couple years.
yeah.
And we worked together great. And somebody that was really agitated called, "Yes, we'll be
They
right."
got the quick?
Be
Wow.
right. Well, it got done. So there's nothing wrong with that, I guess.
Right.
Also, on Surfside Drive, we talked about having a crosswalk uh, a, between the restaurant and Surfside 4, since there's so many people that live there that need to cross the street. They walk their dogs on the beach 3 times a day, so that's
Right.
500 people, back and forth. And the only other places to cross are way down at the end of the streets.
Yeah.
And I know you said last time, this is another thing that Don, we give him a lot of business, don't we?
That's true.
We
He's got
start-
no shortage of things to do.
Do you remember we started with the ducks down at the
Right.
pavilion?
Yeah.
So we keep him busy. But has anything further been? Again, he was going to look into that.
Yeah, he has done a preliminary check on that. I'm going to go out on a little field trip with Don next week, the week of March 4th, and we'll take another look. I want to make sure that he's clear on what you're describing, which I think is the main entrance
Right.
to Surfside 4. So if we could get one closer to there, that would help a lot with the Surfside 4 folks or others.
Yeah, and
that wanna cross
and,
that
and
line.
another thing, if you with a crosswalk there and stuff, it will tend to slow traffic down. The stop signs between the one end of the beach and the other are quite a ways away, and we have some speeders there.
Yeah.
Especially later in the evening and at night. Again, it's dark. People walk their dogs at 8, 9 o'clock, and their hearing and eyesight is not quite as good.
Yeah.
And I think it would sort of help slow down the the cars going there. They'd see a reason to slow down because there's another crosswalk, especially
Right.
the way he has painted them and lit them up in a way that they're really noticeable.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Let's see. We were going to have a meeting with the fort on the train situation, and
Yeah.
I understand with the government shutdown that postponed some of it. Has there been any idea of when a meeting might take place?
Yeah, no discussions really since that whole government shutdown nightmare, which of course now thankfully is over. So
Mhm.
let me get in touch with Donna Lacayo over at the over at the port, and see if we can get that resurrected again and get, there should be no reasons why the federal officials can't travel, which was kind of the hang
Yeah.
up during the
Well,
shutdown.
even if they can't, I think we need to have a meeting. I'm, and I pass stuff on to you that your favorite social media
That's right.
uh, mentions, and there has been some talk on there and newer rumors about what's happening.
Huh.
And uh, I haven't mentioned them because they don't carry much. One of them I looked into, and we found out no, there was miscommunication, and so I don't
Yeah.
want to bother you with stuff like that. But we also have uh, not only the trains going in and out of the port, we have now also the trains crossing Hueneme Road.
Right.
Uh, I guess it's in the Oxnard city,
Yeah.
but it's it backs up right at main traffic at 7:30 in the morning and 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You mentioned you'd been
Yeah, I've
stuck
been
in
stuck.
it,
Yeah.
so I'd like to have, and so would the residents, have that addressed to
Okay.
in that meeting, and if the federales can't make it, let's go without them.
All right.
Okay. Um I have a big issue coming up that I'm going to discuss. Matter of fact, I emailed you and the city council members, uh, and I'm going to read a lady's letter at the city council meeting on code enforcement. When you and Will and I had a last month, we talked about goals of 2019, and I think both of you um, mentioned code enforcement. There's the parking and the appearance of your property and a couple other things that
Right.
you both said we need to look at it because it's a sticky situation. What's right or wrong. There's a thin line, thin blue line sometimes as to what is over the line and what's not.
Yeah.
Give you an example. This a lady wrote on next door that a code compliance person came by, and it was during when the rains were heavy, I guess in
Right.
January, maybe. Let's see, it was probably in early February or so, first week or so, and it rained for on and off pretty good for a week. And I know, I'm in charge of landscaping at Surfside 4. We didn't have our place mowed hardly for 2 weeks
Yeah.
because it rained on the day or the night before when we had to have grass trimmed,
Yeah.
mowed, and so this lady couldn't have her yard mowed, and the first time they had 3 dry days because you have to let it, you know, the code enforcement person came by and wrote them up, and she got a notice in the mail that she had violated, and she was having it done the day she got the letter, and she said there were other people around there where the grass, and I'm talking about, normally it'd be like this. Well, it was like that. It wasn't like it was left for months and stuff, and yet she got a code enforcement thing when
Right.
her point was a little common sense would tell you you can't mow grass when it's wet, and if
Right.
it's just tall and it looks like it's been normally taken care of, why would that happen? Why would the code person, not question that? Probably there was a lot of them like that. So
Right.
uh, it's the what the properties look like and the parking, and there's been where you have people living or renting out rooms to multiple people, and now you have an exponential number of cars on a street that normally would not be there, and people having to park a block or so away, sometimes depending on the time of day they get in.
Yeah.
Is there, I think it was, I can't remember if it was you or Will, said you guys were going to sit down and look at it and try to figure out how can we make this work.
Yeah. Well, so that about a year ago, the spring of 2018, the city council had some meetings, workshops on the whole city zoning code and property maintenance standards.
Mhm.
And they said they had some ideas, they shared some suggestions, but we didn't get to a point of being able to complete all of that and have it go through to, new ordinances being approved. So we're going to come back in the spring of 2019 this year and bring back that whole discussion on property maintenance standards, which the whole lawn maintenance thing would fall under. Parking regulations, I guess, would be part of that as well. So, and those are public meetings where people can come down and make comments and, make suggestions to the
That'll
city
draw a
council.
good crowd.
Right, right.
This has become the number one thing that you see them talking about. I remember remember the hotel type thing, and
Oh, yeah.
it's been pretty calm lately, but this is starting to build. So
Right.
as soon as we can have a community meeting and let them know you're involved and take suggestions and see what you can come up with.
Right.
Because that's what the citizen forum is designed for, and that's what the city council is for. So
That's true.
hopefully we can come up with that.
Yeah, and I just shared with the mayor that, one of the things if people really want to push this idea of the code enforcement is too aggressive, they're going to need to think about, do we want to go to a complaint-based only code enforcement model, which is what some cities do, either because of this feeling that the code enforcement is too aggressive, or because the city doesn't have the money to have a lot of code enforcement staff. And what that means is code enforcement only goes out if a complaint comes in about a neighbor's property or something that someone sees as they're driving through town. Now, for a long time, Port Hueneme has not taken that approach. They've taken what's called a proactive enforcement approach. There's a lady, I call her Tama Iron Lady Fig, who was our code enforcement officer for many years. And Tama was a supporter of a proactive approach. So you go out as a code enforcement officer and you proactively inspect neighborhoods and address issues that you see, rather than hanging back and waiting for complaints to come in. So it's two different philosophies, and I get a little irritated when I see some of the social media stuff, because these people, they need to deal with the reality that if we go to a complaint-only approach, you're going to have a change in the way your neighborhoods look, because we're not going to be out there aggressively addressing this stuff. And that's, the Tama Fig argument is we need to be, if we want our neighborhoods to remain looking good, we need to take an assertive approach with that. So it's, ultimately the city council is going to have to decide what approach they want to take. Now, on the grass growth thing, I can understand the frustration, and that's a case where we might want to say, for X number of weeks after a series of storms, we don't send those letters out, because we understand that people need time for the grass to dry out so that they can mow their grass. So that's an area where we could, maybe meet halfway with the folks that are advocating a less aggressive approach.
Well, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other, and as the English say, it's a sticky wicket.
That's right.
Whatever that means.
That's right.
It sounds good. It sounds good. The more, and when you have tough decisions like that, I think you really want the citizen input so that they feel like that they were part of it and they were not ignored.
Right.
And whether you do what they might like or not, then at least they feel, okay, let me think about it and see how it goes. And if it goes good, fine. If it doesn't, then we come back and do
Yeah.
it. So look forward to that. Do you have anything else that's come across your desk that you'd like to tell the residents about?
Let's see. Big Chamber of Commerce dinner on March 29th. That's still a little ways off. It's still a month off, but big awards dinner takes place over at the Bard Mansion every year. It's on a Friday evening, March 29th, and there will be a lot of awards given out. Officer of the Year for our police department, Employee of the Year for the city, but also the Citizen of the Year. In fact, I think you're a recent recipient of the Citizen of the Year award.
It's a tough job to have, I'll tell you. Your responsibilities just go off
That's
the
right.
scale.
Yeah, and you get that six-figure salary now for being a citizen.
I'm
of the-
still waiting for the check.
So yeah, but the Navy gives the awards out, so kind of a big deal. And it's open to the public, although I think the ticket purchase period is coming to a close pretty soon here. So.
Yeah, you need to go to the chamber website, Chamber of Commerce, and because you have to have your application in at a certain time before the actual meeting, because there is a security check that the Navy does, so that when you come up to the gate with your ticket, they look to see, yes, you were security checked, go on in. So that's how you handle that.
Okay.
Thank you, Rod.
Sure.
Enjoyed
Thanks a lot.
all the information, and
All right.
looking forward to the stuff that we have online. And thank all of you for watching, and we'll see you next month.